Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Trillionaire. All right. Today I want to talk about education. Been watching a lot of Praxis stuff. Praxis is pretty awesome. I actually applied to them about, I think a year ago. Maybe even a year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't know. Applied to them a while ago. Didn't get in. I was pretty mad about that for a while. Still a little bit salty, but it was cool in that afterwards I got to network and started making friends with them, and just talked to a few people now and then. But what's cool is that I saw them on the news the other day, and it's so cool to see them have so much publicity now. And went and watched one of their night shift or the first night shift podcast. Or I'm not sure if it's a podcast per se, but it was an episode on YouTube with Derek Magill and TK Coleman. And man, it was great. It was great. TK is just an awesome person. So is Derek as well, always killing it. But some things that there was a lot of things that really got to me right there that I wanted to talk about, but the primary thing for right now is the idea that we need more systems of education. They talked a lot about how they actually look forward to a time where they can have competition in their space, where other people would be. Well, let me explain Praxis in the first place. So Praxis is basically an apprenticeship program where they take except people from high school and college dropouts. I guess college people that finish college as well, but ideally people that kind of realize the well, quite frankly, the foolishness of college and higher education in most careers. In today's time, what gets you a job is not a degree, it's not a piece of paper. It's having actual experience and having proof of your skills. A degree is classically a signal that you might have these skills and that you're supposed to have a certain amount of, education and know-how and stuff like that. But nothing beats actual experience. Nothing beats actual projects that you've done. And so what they do is spend about, well, when I was applying, they spend about 6 months on classical, education. Actually more of a boot camp where every month you do your own project, and every project is basically something that you want to do, but they also ensure that you build, practical stuff for today, like your own website, and start up your own blog or podcast or something like that. So you're actually out there in the world, putting yourself out there and doing something. And then during the next 6 months, they actually get you on a leadership team right under the CEO of a startup, or rather a later stage startup that's already accomplishing some things, already making revenue. And you're essentially right there at that stage, helping them grow. And so with that, you have practical stance. It's not just going to go in a call center or something like that. You're actually right up under the CEO, learning and doing and most of the time managing a team. And so what's super cool about that is that gives you, of course, these practical skills and this practical experience all in a year. And that's, of course, you have to pay for it. Their idea is that you have to put, kind of like skin in the game, You pay for it, but what I like is that you don't just pay for it. You pay them, and then the apprenticeship program actually pays you directly. Well, I'm not sure directly, but either way, they pay you, and you actually get the amount of money you get from that apprenticeship will actually be more than the amount that you just paid Praxis. So that's a pretty cool setup they got there. But what interests me in this whole ordeal is that this is just one amazing method of education that is grossly misinterpreted and underrepresented in today's economy. And it's sad because apprenticeships are essentially the biggest and most time-tested way of training new people for, for as long as we've been doing anything. Even back in hunter-gatherer cultures, they would take, the young men and take them on hunts with them because they can learn on sight. And people and women in the village, of course, the mothers and everything would take them under their wing to teach them, how to cook and make things and hunt or rather gather in that area. And later on, the same thing would happen on farms and on, textile type stuff or smithing or whatever you want to say. Apprenticeships have hands down been the best way for people to teach the next generation. And we've essentially lost that skill once we created public education. Or maybe not even public education, but higher education. I'm not sure exact timeline, but actually it was public education, because even coming up to the late 1900s, the biggest way for higher class or upper middle class people to teach their kids was to get a tutor and personally teach them what they know. As for the lower class people, they would be on an apprenticeship with their parents or with somebody in their immediate town. But with public education, they wanted to extend the skill of everybody. But unfortunately, it wasn't really for a good reason. It wasn't for a altruistic. It wasn't, something to help people, to help low class people become more educated. In reality, it was most definitely to teach people how to be more compliant and how to fit into the gear of society. And I'm not sure that's an exact quote, but that's most definitely by the person who actually founded public education. You can research this yourself. So what's sad is that this method of learning and teaching has been essentially marketed and pounded into people for the last 100 years. And it's been to our great dismay and our great disadvantage, because now we're stuck with a system that is meant to push people into a pipeline of factories, of that mass production type thing, where everybody has a set thing they do, and you sit there in that one area. Maybe you go up the ladder as you do it, but essentially your whole life is around that thing, being compliant and carrying out as if you are a cog in a machine. And today we joke a lot, or we don't even joke anymore. We fear the onset of robots coming and taking our jobs. But the only reason that can even be happening is because we failed, because we were failed, and that we were meant to be as machines by public education. We were meant to think about it. In school, the main things people focus on is rote memorization. Remembering all these facts and all these things, and then regurgitating it on a written test or in any other type of test. And then after that, you would do a certain amount of projects or a certain amount of things, not even a real life project, but a theoretical project in which you get graded on, get your performance evaluation, and then get that back and supposed to, do it all again the next year. That's exactly what a robot does. We were groomed through public education to be like robots. And now that actual robots are being made, they can, of course, easily take our jobs or whatever you want to say. That is simply because we are not meant for that. That is not what humans do. Education, from back in the Greek times, to educate means to draw out. It doesn't mean to pour in. It doesn't mean to shove a bunch of facts in your face and have you regurgitate them later. And this is coming from, mind you, I'm not, a person that hates school or anything like that. I always enjoyed school. I'm a nerd. I freaking love learning. And even though I hated, having to do homework and this random busy work, I always spent the time to do above and beyond simply because I love learning. And I would take the time to, even when we have homework, I would take the time to go deeper into the different studies and all that. And when it was like time for a research paper, I would actually go to a physical library, college library and do a bunch of research. Whenever I Google things, I would go deeply into the Wikipedia sources and links and all this stuff. I love education. I love learning. So this is not coming from somebody that never was good at school or hated all that stuff. No, I'm legit, a proponent of education and even public education. I believe in public education. But the problem is that public education doesn't believe in us. Most people are not, their education experience is not customized for them. And that is a tragedy, because now they're stuck, doing this thing or thinking they have to go a certain way from grade school to college. And then once you get to the marketplace, to the job market, they realize that all those years was almost a waste, because they have to relearn how to integrate into society. They have to relearn how to create, how to show value for themselves. They can't just hand a piece of paper over to the person. No, you have to actually show them what you've done. And even in college, that's why they encourage you to take internships. If people know full well that these internships in college are what really get you the job, that they know the real experience in creating something in a real project is what really gets you a job and builds your career and helps you live a fulfilled life, why in the world will we keep, encouraging this system of basically turning humans into robots? The robots are coming now, so we really need it. It's an even bigger reason to stop this madness. And my personal idea is that we can actually build a better public education system. I believe public education is better than private, because it puts the onus on the community to ensure that people have this equal opportunity in learning. In a private education, they can always resend their invitations to certain communities. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to offer the best of education to the poorest of people. In fact, most private people or private companies wouldn't do that, because it's not profitable. Of course, it's not. Poor people don't have money. So if they weren't being subsidized, if they didn't have any type of government incentive to do that, then they wouldn't. Maybe people who actually have, a personal stake in that for some reason, but expecting or wishing for them to do that is kind of foolish. But at the same time, we shouldn't have the government, kind of say, okay, everybody needs to go through this certain system. Instead, we should set up a diverse system that is meant to be dynamic, and that every student is able to have their own customized education experience, meant to draw out their specific skills and their specific talents and their inherent abilities. And even if they don't, necessarily have an amazing talent or anything like that, like I believe I didn't really have an amazing talent. I just like learning. And so they can still draw out for each person their ability to learn something, or to learn a certain skill, or even to just learn or be a generalist and enjoy the overall experience. Either way, there needs to be a new system where we take these robots that are coming, we take these AI and use it to augment our own lives, and that we can create this equal opportunity of education amongst all peoples, regardless of where you're from or what you're doing, or the private organization around, or the government incentives, or any of that. Thanks to the internet, a lot of people can go online and just learn whatever they want, but that is not optimized for actually encouraging people to go on there and finding, a educational opportunity. Instead, is usually filled with a lot of distractions and mess and bullcrap. But I believe there is a way and a time and a place and an opportunity, to encourage that type of experience. Kind of a mess with this episode. I didn't really script anything. Probably would have been better to actually pitch an idea, but it's good to just talk, and I'm building up my ability to talk, I guess. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hopefully the next episode will have more details And yeah, bye bye.